So the goal of this tutorial is to show you how to use spreadsheet software, in this case Google Sheets, to create a spreadsheet showing the profits for your business month by month and then display this data in a professional looking graph. Once you're in Google Sheets, you'll go ahead and click on a new blank spreadsheet and go ahead click where it says Untitled Spreadsheet and give your spreadsheet a meaningful title. Hit enter. If you have any teammates you're working with, you can click share here, and that's where you'll be able to add any collaborators. If you put teammates in there, they can also view and edit the document from their own Google accounts. And then we'll go ahead and start by entering the data that you've already prepared for your business's income and expenses month by month. So be sure to put a title for each column at the top. And then we'll enter our data. You can just hit enter every time you finish a cell and it will take you down to the next one. And click on a cell that you want to work on. Oh, oops. You can actually move data, so I can click all of that and drag it down. I accidentally put it in the wrong place. Okay, and then I'll put my expenses in. Okay, now at this point, instead of manually calculating the profit, I'm actually going to use the spreadsheet to perform those calculations for me. So let me add a profit column. And as we know, profit is the difference between income and expenses. So if you're using the spreadsheet to actually perform the calculation inside the cell, once it's selected, you can click equals, and this is how we start using the built-in calculator. I want to subtract the income minus the expenses, so I'm going to go ahead and click the cell for this row that holds the income. And you can see it entered B2 there because I selected the data that was in column B, row 2. Now I'll type minus because I want to subtract. And then I'll click the expenses for this row where now it says C2 because that's column C, row 2. Next, I'll hit enter and you can see that it has calculated my profit for the month of January. Now, instead of having to keep on typing that for every row, which would be very time consuming, I can just click on that cell, hover in the bottom right corner where you see that little blue square, and when you're there, you should see your cursor change from a pointer to a plus sign. And then click and drag that down, and it's just basically going to extend that calculation to all the other rows of your table. So if I click on this cell, for example, I see now it's subtracting B3 minus C3 because we're in row 3, so we want to subtract this income minus this expenses. And all the profits have been calculated for me. Now, the last step is to actually create a graph of this data. So I need to select the cells that contain the data I want to graph. So I'll first go to the month column, click and drag to select the month data. And now I need to also select the profit data and keep this highlighted or selected. So I'm going to hold down the control key. And then once I'm holding control down, I'll click and drag on profit. You should now see that both the month column and the profit column are highlighted. And once they are both highlighted, click Insert Chart. And from here, you can click and drag your chart to put it where you want. You have lots of options over here for customizing the appearance. For example, if you decided a line chart or a line graph would be more appropriate, you can change that here. And under Customize, there's lots of options for changing colors, fonts, and so forth. For example, if I wanted to change my title, I could go here and change the font just like that. And you'll notice that the nice thing about using this spreadsheet to calculate profit, let's say I realized I had entered some data in incorrectly. Let's say my income for this month was actually $3,572. What you'll see if I go in and update that is it automatically recalculated my profit for that month and the graph was updated as well. And that's pretty much all there is to it. If you want to do more playing around with it and customizing, you can, but that's the basics.